Welcome inside the Harmony Rucker League fans to week 3 of the podcast. I am Walker Ward alongside my partner, Mason Howard. We're here to break down everything inside the Harmony Rucker League. Of course, you just saw this week's sponsor is Nature's Touch Purified Water. It keeps you hydrated.
It does. It really does. Better than any other water I've had. And what do you have there, Walker?
I'm going to set mine up here. Mine is Nature's Touch electrolyte water. After a long day working at the golf course, I needed some electrolytes. Now, I could drink Gatorade, but I didn't want all that sugar. I want just water and electrolytes. And Quick Trip provides that for me. So thanks, Quick Trip. Let's get into it, I guess.
Let's do it.
So, first thing, I guess, we got to congratulate 2 Rucker League players that made it. Well, yeah, that made it to state.
Yes, they did. We had my teammate who hasn't been there yet, Greg Kennedy. So congrats for not being here for another 2 weeks. Really excited for that. But in all reality, he PR'd in all 3 of his races. He was on a 4x1 team, an open 200, and a long jump. Did phenomenal on those. He's going to go to state for 3 events. And then Adrian Rindles was also on the 4x1 that set a new school record. So, I mean, really, really awesome stuff. So congrats to both those guys. I know my Hunters and the Lions are really going to be missing their presence, as the rest of the Rucker League will miss them. But go do your guys' thing at state. We're really excited for you.
Yeah, and you're going to be missing Greg a little bit longer, so look for Mason's stats to be elevated right now. Speaking of that, we had 2 players reach 100 points this last week. So big shout out to one of them sitting right here. Mason Howard reached 105 points this last week. Along with him, also at 105 points, rookie sensation, week 1 player of the week, Quincy Berlin, also reached 105 points. These are 2 players that are, you guys really carrying your teams right now.
I mean, think about both the guys that are going to state. Whose team are they on? They're on mine, and they're on Quincy's team. We're both missing phenomenal athletes. You have to be a phenomenal athlete to get state. Yeah. So it's kind of a lot of shooting most of the shots for both of us, and luckily enough for us, they're going in. So we're both doing well right now.
So I guess let's just get to a recap of the week. Let's look at, so power rankings came out. Black Panthers are continuing to dominate. They did have a close one against the Lions. They squeaked by with a 21-20 win, which earned Ethan Lane the iHRL Brown Cap Big of the Week. So he will be getting chocolate milk from the insiders.
You're welcome, Ethan.
You're welcome.
And he's been like the big of the year. I mean, every game of his is
every game, and we're going to dive into some of his stats.
Yes, we will.
And how insane he's been playing. Yeah, I mean, they're 5-1 in their last. The only team that beat them is number 2 in the power rankings, 6-0 in their last 6 games. The Wolves on that Reed Olson game winner.
Reed Olson, baby. And I mean, just the Wolves. I had a chance where we're 3 weeks of the season, so every team played everybody else. So I now play both the Black Panthers and the Wolves. And I got the Wolves a little bit later in the season, but they're just – I feel like it's with every Zach Hauger-led team. Their ball movement is so good. I don't know if he goes home and just studies 3-on-3 basketball, maybe the Ice Cube Big 3 League he watches before bed every night, but his teams know how to play ball.
I know last year for playoffs we had that big thing about what is Zach Hauger. Does he eat something before each game, each week?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Something we could maybe check in on this Sunday. Yeah. But no, the Wolves, they're hot right now. They're playing well together.
They're playing really well.
I'm impressed. Those are basically the 2 teams that are setting themselves apart from the rest. Then we jump into every other team that is in their last 6 games, 3-3, 3-3, 3-3, 2-4. I mean, 2-4, 3-3, and then the one lonely 1-5.
Two lonely
1-5
teams. Yeah, it is a league with a lot of parity right now, and it's kind of like, other than the 2 Titans on top, everybody is beating on everybody. Again, the power rankings, it's the next 3 teams after the top 2 are my Hunters. Not in any particular order. My Hunters, Red Raiders, and Knights. It's actually the opposite way. We beat the Knights. Knights beat the Red Raiders. Red Raiders beat us. And that's the way it is with every single team. We're all beating each other. 7 out of the 10 teams are below 500. The 8th team, the Lions, are 5-4. They're almost below 500. They're 1 loss away. I mean, it makes each game so fun, and also you have to be amped up so much for each game. So it's pretty crazy.
When we said that this was going to be the most competitive year, it's really proving to be that. Just like you just said, yeah, we're one given week away from, a last place team jumping up to all of a sudden they might be, in the top 5 in the power ranking, or top 5 in the standings. I guess that's how crazy. We're still early on in the week.
I mean, and it makes me think, think about the talent we lost last year. Imagine if we still had a Logan Corson running loose, a Jace Keeney, a Luke Riley Means. LB would be going crazy every single week on these guys.
LB, I think LB is pretty happy that he's on a management role this year.
I think he's pretty happy with the team that he drafted.
Him and Corson. We got to remember Corson is a part of this too. The guy that working in the shadows.
Shadow Corson. He came out of the shadows. I think he heard me talk last week. He came out of the shadows.
I think so. He made an appearance this weekend. First time I've seen him emerge from who knows where he was.
I heard that he was under a rock just doing scouting reports.
Just under a rock.
He's just in the dark just scouting reports.
But other teams, Red Raiders continue to impress.
Yeah, so last weekend, I believe it was last weekend, they lose their first game. We played in their second game, and look who pulls up. Jeremy O'Connor.
There he is.
4th man of the year, reigning. And he wins.
Fresh off the golf course.
He wins that game. Next game, he wins that game. Next game, he wins that game. Next game, he wins. They were 4-0 in the Jeremy O'Connor era. And then maybe a fluke loss. Maybe they should be 5-0. They lost that last game of the weekend. They're 4-1 with Jeremy O'Connor coming off the bench. Talk about a game changer right there.
Well, this is last year's 4th man of the year.
Yes.
Obviously coming off of a championship win for the Polars. And the Polars, this is last year we're talking. The Polars had everything they needed. Everybody knew their role. And I would argue that Jeremy O'Connor was making a case for finals MVP just based off of his hustle and giving them second chance. Zach might miss once. Same thing with a lot of players in this league. Zach might miss once, but if you give him a second shot from that same location, he's not missing.
He's not. And Jeremy is so unselfish. He's going to do all the little things, and he doesn't care about his playing time, his buckets he gets. He just wants to win basketball games. And I got to respect that out of a player.
The Harmony Rucker League Energizer Bunny.
He is.
So Red Raiders with the Bill Belichick of the league, AB, media train. We can't get anything out of him.
No, we cannot.
Nobody can get anything out of him. Not even any of our sources that we have had trying to chirp at AB. Nothing. Red Raiders, one of the few teams nope, they're content, they're happy, they're good to go.
The most I heard him say was in the huddle that we got into the other day. I'm pretty sure it was like, yep, we're doing good out there.
We're doing good out there.
Goodness.
A couple other teams, nothing really too crazy to highlight. Jay Brink back for the Suns, maybe.
Question mark.
Something maybe we'll come back to later. The Polars. The Polars are the Polars. Storm. 0-3. Colt Landers not there this weekend. I don't even know if they scored 30 points this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, they played the Black Panthers, and it was just ugly.
They had a tough schedule. Storm, we'll kind of dive deep. We'll dive into them a little bit later. And then also with that, the Gators, 0-3. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that.
I'm going to give a shout out to my Hunters right now.
Yep.
We get word. It's 4:03. Games have started. Atlee text the group chat. You boys got enough for today. Like, you're not, Big A, you're not going to be here? And he's like, no. So I'm like, okay, where the hell is Karsten at then? Karsten hadn't even showed up yet. We need CJ, our 5th round pick. Me, our free agent Jordan Peterson, second weekend in the league. And then CJ played all minutes of every single game. 2-1 for the kids. 2-1. Best weekend yet for the season. Shout out CJ for holding it down out there. Jordan Peterson averaged like 5 points a game and 9 rebounds a game. It was total team effort. Shout out the Hunters.
And yeah, I guess we won't really dive deep, but I guess my source said that Atlee's horse was acting up and he was unable to get from the Amish farm to the Rucker on Sunday.
That makes sense.
We're keeping Ranger, his horse, in our thoughts and prayers.
Ivermectin, baby. Come on.
Ivermectin.
Go get it. Go get him some.
So with that, we kind of talked about all the teams. Who's doing well. Every other team, middle of the pack is thick. The swamp is thick. You got your bottom tier teams that maybe, are making a run.
I look at these bottom tier teams too, and it's just like they got stars on them. It's just they can make any weekend they could go off.
All of a sudden, one weekend you could have the star of that team just gets hot and they go 3-0. Next thing you know, it's like, holy crap, we're in this thing. We're still early, right? Bad records. Take the Gators, right? 2-7. 3-0 weekend, all of a sudden you're 5-7. That doesn't, granted, it's still a losing record, but it's not horrible.
Not horrible at all.
Now, this is the weekend right here where if your team, some of these teams maybe do lose one, go 1-2, go 0-3, things might start getting shaky. Owners need to start thinking about trades.
They really do.
So this last week was interesting.
It was fun. It was fun.
There was, source saying that the owners group chat was electric. That was the one thing that I was able to get out of AB. He kind of gave me a little he didn't tell me much, so don't kick AB out of the group. But he was just kind of giving me quick little rundowns of, things going on. And I hate to out a source right there, but
AB wasn't telling you much.
But another thing, let's just kind of go team by team. Let's start at the bottom and work our way up in the standings.
Oh, the bottom's a fun place to start too.
Yeah, let's start off with the Gators. The Gators, the whole team was being shopped.
Every single
from my source says the whole team was being shopped with one trade I heard. And you can attest to this.
I can.
John and Brady were potentially about to be traded. The two, basically, we were going to have first and second round swaps between John and Brady getting sent to the Polars in exchange for Bryden and Jeffy to the Gators.
Man,
that's a blockbuster trade right there.
If you're Nate Helgerud, I know you really are loving Bryden and not so much Jeffy. But, how do you say no to John Preston sitting in front of you on a silver platter saying, I don't know if he wants to, but it's like Luka Doncic getting traded. So you get a phone call and you're like, you're trading me who right now?
What? Oh, yeah.
So, it didn't even go through. It hasn't gone through yet. I don't know.
But with that, just another rumor I've kind of heard is not a rumor. I heard it officially. Jeffy has requested a trade from the Polars.
And I think that's the best for his career. I think the best for his season. It's all hell's broken loose. That's why you don't do business with family.
No,
I know he's there and he comes home that night. It's Mom, Nate's being mean. Nate's trying to trade me again. Nate, why don't you keep your brother happy? Just leave the team, Jeffy. Let's just all be happy here.
So that's Polars. I kind of did have a little chat with Nate about how are you feeling about your team, and he's happy with Bryden. Like we said, he doesn't want Bryden to go anywhere, especially because Bryden might be Defensive Player of the Year. We'll get to that later. He's really
good on defense,
but maybe this week, all of a sudden, the Gators have another 0-3 weekend. Things are going to blow up. I think we are right at that boiling point, and we're about to either boil over the top, or somebody's going to come pop tearing the heat back down, and things are going to fizzle out. We don't know. Polars, obviously, trading. We'll work our way up here. Hunters, they're not really doing much, right?
My owners, I don't even know if my owners know what the single thing that's going on in the league. I try to keep them updated, but 4 owners, not a single one of them has been there to watch actual Rucker ball. Hunters are staying the same for quite a while.
Hunters are content because you guys are, you had a 2-1 weekend.
2-1 weekend. We're still missing our second round pick and Greg Kennedy. So we're we're chilling for right now, trying to keep ourselves out of the. My owners are trying to keep us out of the drama. I'm here to create the drama. If they ever want to give me anything to say, I'll say it on air.
Now let's talk about an owner that has been there multiple weekends, and I overheard is the Storm. Mattson Keeney, overheard him talking with some other owners. The Storm are shopping right now. The Storm want to get Colt Lander's help. Colt Landers, who wasn't there this weekend.
You want to give the guy who hasn't shown up help. Doesn't quite make sense to me. What if he doesn't show up and your help doesn't have the guy he's supposed to be paired with? Maybe you should just trade Colt Landers.
Colt Landers given up on Rucker?
Is he holding out?
I don't know.
I think I might have saw some post on the Instagram saying that he might want to pair up with his buddy Ethan Lane on the Black Panthers.
That's not even fair. We can't even talk about that.
Okay, we're not going down that rabbit hole.
I'm retiring if that happens. That's the team is OP. But the Storm are a little upset with the rest of the team play. Not that they've been playing bad, but I think they want a little more. And one name I have heard kind of maybe thrown out is Wilson Storhoff. Might be getting shopped. For who? I don't know. But that's just one name that I've heard kind of getting thrown out there. Obviously, they have Sawyer, but
yes,
who are you going to trade Sawyer for?
Exactly. It's very tough in a 3-on-3 league because you have to fill roles, and it's like, okay, I'll give you a shooter. I have a shooter. I don't want to give up my shooter. I want a big. It's like
What's a big?
We're going to see trades happen. I believe that. It's just the right situations. I think another problem for the Storm, let's not forget, Wilson, Colt, Sawyer, all were in the same graduating class. They all played each other. Well, Wilson and Sawyer were on the same team, but could there be some bad blood between Colt and the Lanesboro boys?
There could be.
I mean, that's many years of rivalries between Lanesboro and Grand Meadow. Maybe he's not holding out on the Rucker. He's just holding out on his teammates right now. Maybe he wants somebody to get shipped so then he can have a little more team chemistry.
And another interesting, we had that anonymous poll this weekend, and there was somebody taking some shots at Colt Landers. We don't know who that could be, but Colt Landers was called a... I don't know. We can bleep it out.
It out.
Colt Landers was called a...
He was. And I don't know if this person who we definitely don't know who they are.
Definitely don't know who they were.
I don't know if they've seen Colt Landers, but very large man. Definitely wouldn't want to get in his way in any situation. So, maybe if Colt Landers wanted to, give us a price to see who it was, we can maybe just hack into the system to figure out to let him know. But somebody's hating on Colt Landers.
Is it? I mean,
maybe it was one of the Lanesboro boys on his team.
Might have been.
Oh man,
something to keep in mind. We're gonna keep out. We already talked about the Polars and how they're shopping. I've got a gnat buzzing right around my face again. We are in,
we're in the Walker Dome right now.
Summertime here in Minnesota. So,
ooh, I got it with my finger.
They're coming out in full force. Red Raiders, nothing is coming out of that camp.
Bill Belichick AB is... I mean, you got to be happy with how the team's playing too. So
the only thing I've heard out of that camp is the Red Raiders are happy. The Red Raiders are content with their team. Don't expect any change-ups. Okay, that's all we need to talk about them.
However,
the Knights. I'll let you talk about
okay. Well, we had some very reliable sources tell us that the Knights are ready to shake up the league.
What does that mean?
I mean, the Knights sitting kind of right in the middle of the pack, especially for how things have been playing out this season. Their plus minus is a -2. Like, what do you mean they want to shake up the league? Does Matt Lutz even know that the Knights are about to shake up the league?
That was my exact question. Does Matt even know what's going on?
I mean, you have two very valuable trade assets, 2 guards, Trey Matheson, Grant Kennedy. Would you want to split them up for somebody?
But then you also have Clayton Shopsky, who would be considered a guard who's is he third in the league in rebounds per game or something?
He's averaging 7.6 rebounds a game.
It's something it doesn't make any sense.
I'm pretty sure he's doing that off the bench.
Okay,
too.
So he's fifth, but he's behind the likes of Ethan Lane, Colt Landers, Logan Torgerson, and then Clayton Shopsky. Where did he come from?
Out of left field. I mean, that's a hustle player if I've ever seen one. If you're going to be going and getting that many rebounds off the bench, especially.
So Knights.
What if? Hear me out. Gundo pages Matt Lutz many assistants, and we get a Grant Kennedy for John Prestiman. Trade, get John and Trey, two buddies to team up. Gators get a new guy at the head of the ship.
That is something to think about. Or, hear me out. Who can get in contact with Matt Lutz? Nobody.
Not a single person.
Except for one. And I've witnessed it. The only person that I have been known to text Matt Lutz or call him and Matt Lutz answers is the Polars owner, number 77.
Really?
He is the only time.
Does he have like a special phone for Matt Lutz?
I think he's got a special phone for Matt Lutz. Could we see Jeffy going to the Knights for
Clayton Shopsky?
That for Grant? I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know if you can get rid of Trey. But
Trey was technically their second round pick.
But
oh man, that's tough.
What could Trey? But that would shake up the league.
That would really. Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Because yeah,
something to keep in mind.
If the Knights want to shake things up, Matt Lutz needs to dust off the old phone.
We got the streaker.
Our iHRL Cat Fillmore wants to join the pod.
Suns. All right. He just keeps coming back. He wants the camera time. We got the Suns. All right.
Same old story.
Suns have been in trade talks. We don't really know much. There was some stories that came out that the Suns quickly shot down this last weekend.
But were they shooting them down because they're false, or they shooting them down because they don't want animosity on their team?
Now, my favorite story out of the Suns right now is there was a trade talk about me being traded to the Suns for Connor Danielson. That was sent in anonymously on our polls. Now, we have some sources close to Connor Danielson that say he wants that to maybe happen. He wants a new team. He wants to team up with his brother.
Yeah, and
he may have been thankful for that anonymous send in. So who sent it in? We don't know. All we know, Connor Danielson liked it.
And I talked to Connor before the season started, and I know he was hoping to get on a team where he could make an impact, have some playing time. He played varsity ball this year at Lanesboro, and I don't think the Suns are looking to give him that. Could we see Connor he wasn't there this weekend.
Was he there the week before that?
I think he might. Yes, he was. Suns have more were without Caden Stellar, so he saw the floor a little bit more.
Okay.
But on a weekend when they have their full team, Connor says, "You guys will be fine. I'm gonna sit this one out. Maybe next weekend when they have their full team, you guys will be fine. I'm gonna sit this one out."
Well, we gotta see what happens there. That is something to follow. Suns always in trade talks, but they're also they don't really want anything to get out there.
They don't. I don't know how fond the Suns are of the iHRL podcast. So we're going to move past you guys for right now. You're welcome. You can thank us later. Lions, Eric Wilder, Logan Wilder. Are they looking at making any trades right now?
He's always in trade talks.
That was pretty impressive. That was really good. I thought Eric Wilder was in the room. If there's anybody listening on the podcast format that we don't have set up yet, Eric Wilder's not in the room currently. That was Walker Ward.
The Lions are always in trade talks. Every time I see Eric anywhere, he's talking to this. He's been talking to, this isn't any like thing. I've just seen him talking with the Suns owners. I've seen him talking with the Polars owner. I've seen him talking with even the Storm. So like he's just chirping, and he did lose he was trying to trade Peyton Olsen before the season.
He was. That's a known fact. Peyton Olsen even knows that now.
Did Peyton Olsen retire because of it? Who knows? Would he?
Maybe he loved the Lions so much that he couldn't bear to be on another team, so he decided to retire.
But
story for another day.
That's all we really got out of the Lions right now. They're always in trade talks, and then it comes to, the Black Panthers are always talking, but
LB just likes to talk.
LB likes to talk.
And Ruby, well, I suppose Ruby might be looking to trade somebody.
Ruby might be looking. There was a situation that occurred. I don't want to give out too many of the details, especially because I heard it secondhand, but let's just say there was maybe a player who was unhappy about something, expressed that unhappiness, and Ruby may have needed some tissues to wipe away some tears.
In a year that we're focusing on men's mental health, we can't forget to focus on women's mental health as well.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter how bad anything gets in any of our lives, we got to remember to be nice to our owners and our teammates. So if the Wolves want to preach that, being kind a little bit more, could they see said player, who is not Father Time, by the way, must preface that.
Or Zach must preface that.
Can we see somebody get traded?
Somebody
from
get
the
him
Wolves.
out of there.
Get him out of there. He's bad for the culture. He's toxic. Bad locker room guy.
Especially with a team that is 8-1, 6-0 in their last 6 games. I mean,
it's the last thing you want right now is to have a bad locker room. Are they playing
well? Do you get rid of this player and shake things up, or do you just say, "Hey, it was a one-off thing. Nothing was meant by it. Maybe there was some adult pops involved. Let's just."
Who's to say this is the last time it's going to happen, though? You don't want the post-trade deadline to roll around and then strike 2-3 year out, but you can't get traded yet.
There it is. Something to keep in mind, something to follow.
What if we saw the first iHRL cut? Could a player get cut from a team post-trade?
Could it be free agent season?
If you get cut, can you get signed to another team?
I don't know. We'd have to dig into the rule books on that.
That'd be pretty interesting. We don't need to talk about that anymore, though. Maybe for another day. What do we got next?
Next thing, I mean, it's way too early to even be talking about this, but we got to talk about some potential award races.
We do. I mean, that's what we post stats every week. Everybody's kind of like, Zach's won MVP the last million years.
Yeah.
Is there going to be anybody new? And I think that we might have found the guy.
There's a couple guys that I could, you could put their hat in the ring for this right now. You would be one of them. I mean, granted your guys' record isn't quite reflecting it, but like your stats are speaking for themselves. You are single-handedly carrying your Hunters, trying to keep you guys alive. But one name stands out from the rest.
It really does.
He's led his team to an 8-1 record, a 51 plus minus in the positive. The possible MVP / rookie of the year.
This guy can do it all.
Ethan Lane. So we wrote down some stats that Ethan Lane has so far. So basically 7.5 points per game.
Decent.
10 rebounds a game.
Decent.
3.7 assists per game.
Decent. No iHRL players ever average 4 assists per game. Don't check that. But he might be the first one to do that.
And
he's close.
You did the math. So basically, Ethan Lane is accounting for basically 16 points per game between points and assists, give or take. And how many of them are coming off of, like we were just talking before this about maybe it's not a great shot by another one of the Panthers players. It's going to be an air ball. All of a sudden, I'm talking like, I'm trying to think of a tight end in the NFL. All of a sudden, you've got, Rob Gronkowski or, some jump ball. You've got Julio Jones in the corner of the end zone. Hands come up. Bam, he catches it. Ball stays up. Right back up. Easy one-pointer. Ethan Lane is
so athletic.
What I keep thinking about with Ethan Lane is he is exactly what he embodies what Rucker ball is.
He does. And even for a rookie to come in here and just do that,
And
I mean, it's crazy.
he's got a Player of the Week award, Brown Cap Big, and I don't know if we did mention our green cap guard, Quincy Berlin.
Shout out Quincy.
Quincy's stats for that game, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 5 2-pointers. He just could not miss. But what earned back to Ethan, he had 10 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists.
And if those 5 assists were 2-pointers, that's 20 points counted for right there.
That is 20 of your 21 points of the game in a 21-20 win over the Lions. Obviously, without him, they're not winning that game. He is right now. He's got my vote for MVP, and with that, if he's going to win MVP, he has to be Rookie of the Year.
He does. But a guy that's also on his team that could win an award, Anthony Keeney, maybe the most improved player of the year. He has 17 assists right now.
Yeah. Well, 17 assists, but it's when Ethan Lane is dishing out so many, is Anthony's just racking up the points, basically.
He is. He's racking points. I would love to know how many assists total the Black Panthers have as a team compared to the rest of the league.
I was going to say I could figure that out, but not that. We should have done
that. That would be a really cool stat. Maybe that's a post for later about kind of like the team assist compared to their peers in the league. Anthony Keeney, really, he had an argument for Player of the Week his first weekend. If his teammate wouldn't have just had an awesome weekend and won it, he might have had it. Clayton Shopsky is another guy that could be a most improved type guy. He's averaging the 7.6 rebounds. It's these guys that, came into the Rucker League as young high school basketball players. Maybe they're graduating, maybe they're coming into their senior year. Really starting to make a difference on their team. But also, owners, don't forget, very valuable trade assets.
Very valuable.
Very valuable.
And let's just play right off of that. I'm just looking at the Black Panthers points. So Ethan Lane has 68, Gavin 42, Anthony 53, and Parker Wong 23. Now Parker has missed, I think, a week or two.
Yeah.
But every single player on the Black Panthers is contributing.
That's crazy. That's obviously you have your option A, B, C, and D right there, but that's every player having over 20 points. 21 points is all we play to. So for every player to have over 20 points on a team is insane. I don't even know.
There's a reason they're 8-1.
That's very true. They're getting to 21 very consecutively. They're putting up a lot of points. But also, they're holding teams to almost nothing. They played the Storm, a crutch Storm team. I think I looked over, it was 17-4.
Yeah,
the defense is also
at one point they went on. I believe it was a 10, if not an 11-0 run. The Storm just couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
there were steals. There was 4 shots that should not have been taken. That Ethan Lane just says, "Give me that ball, pass it out, and you guys just give me the assist."
Everybody's bought into LB's culture and Corson's culture. And it might be more Corson's culture, but
on paper.
That's a story for another day. Speaking of steals, speaking of defense, DPOY, we know Father Time ran it for years. Parker Stora finally went and got it from Father Time last year.
Yep.
Father Time says, "I'm coming for it back." Bryden Ball says, "Not so fast, you two. Let me go average a couple blocks.
1.2 blocks per game. His steals, I forgot to write that down.
Pull up steals numbers.
But not to forget, last year's Defensive Player of the Year, Parker Storhoff, is also, I believe he's still leading the league in blocks per game.
I think he's averaging a block a game right now. As a 5, I'll be generous here, I think, 5'9", 5'10" guard. Leading the league in blocks and averaging a block a game. It's why I talked to Quentin Tripp about it, his teammate, and Quentin goes, "Yeah, I go for blocks." And I look up and Parker's already above me.
Yeah.
Going for off of just a 2-foot jump. He's bouncy. I'll give you that. But have you pulled up Bryden's steals?
Bryden's averaging a steal a game.
And he's also averaging how many
blocks? A block a game. 1.2 blocks per game.
I mean, that's absurd. How many Parker? I know Parker's averaging a block a game, and
Parker's on the other sheet here. Parker's averaging 1.3 steals per game. So
we really have a neck and neck race right now.
Maybe, I mean, I guess, you do have to think, does Parker run it back as back-to-back defensive player of the year? Bryden is making a case with the blocks. Obviously, though, the Red Raiders, Parker only has 1.1 blocks per game, so he's right behind him.
Oh, man, that's neck and neck.
And these are two teams that are pretty even with each other. They're not really, you don't have, the Polars above where you could say, well, Bryden's defense is causing them to win. Red Raiders, Parker's defense is maybe causing them to win. Nobody gave them a shot, and here they are neck and neck with everybody. They're 4-5 with a mind, like both teams are 4-5, the Red Raiders and the Polars. The plus minus is -10 for the Raiders and -20 for the Polars, but that's one bad game that's two bad games, really.
That is.
Anything could happen.
Yeah, I'd be super interested in, really, if you're going to average over a block and over a steal a game, there's not going to be anybody else that's even in the conversation. It's Parker and it's Bryden. It's going to come down to that. And that is, like, I'll put it, like, I'm fairly quick. I'm not the greatest defender in the world, but I'm an athletic person. I don't think I have a steal yet this year. Like, it's not overly easy. We have really good ball handlers.
We do.
Both guys are getting the best matchup every single game.
Every game.
To be able to get into the defensive position to get in a game of 21, get a steal and a block every single game. It's crazy. That's averaging 3 steals, 3 blocks a weekend. It really shows you how good they are at defense.
Speaking of the Red Raiders also have another player that could win back-to-back 4th Man of the Year award, Jeremy O'Connor. Like you mentioned earlier, are 4-1 in their last 5 games in the Jeremy O'Connor era. Jeremy O'Connor just basically shows up and is the Energizer Bunny.
Could this be the best defensive team in the league when you put on the court Parker, Jeremy, and then you got Quentin Tripp locking it down? Quentin Tripp is a solid defensive player.
And then Will Harvey, I don't know what his defensive stats are. I guess we didn't really look into it, but I feel like he does have a couple steals this year.
He must. Yeah, he must. He's quick. He has good instincts.
So Will Harvey, I'm on blocks. That would explain why Will Harvey does not have a block this year. Will Harvey, step up your defense. But he has 5 steals on the year. So half a game, but
I have 0 right now. So that's still very, very impressive to me.
But Jeremy making a case, 4th Man of the Year. And then we kind of talked about some of the most improved players. Obviously, we had mentioned Anthony. Clayton Shopsky has to get mentioned. Bryden Ball. Granted, Bryden was on a championship team last year, making a case for Defensive Player of the Year, but he's really stepped in, and he is a 1. Maybe he needs some help. Hopefully something. I don't know. Jeffy and I have been in talks about a couple things. He doesn't think he's Ray Allen anymore, so I don't know if the hypnotism didn't work. But we can come back to that. And then obviously you've got to make a case for most improved. Granted, last year you didn't play too much. You were still a big piece, but you're carrying your team this year so far.
I feel very improved, but just based off of I was an all-star last year. So, I mean, it's a conversation of like jumping from an all-star to like more than that, or jumping from like a role player to like being a really contributing player. I'm always going to opt to give it to the guy who jumped from being at the end of the bench to contributing in the game. Because I think that's what the biggest improvement is, not being good and being better. Like,
speaking of the bench, a couple players that maybe won't be earning themselves an award. Maybe they're, as of right now, maybe they're on the bench. Maybe they're holding out.
We've talked about it.
Couple players holding out. The one that I think has kind of slipped under the radar that nobody's noticed, Bennett Miller.
Benny, where are you at?
You were there one week. I looked over and I see you in the crowd. Your team is playing and you're in your golf clothes.
Golf clothes, shades on. He doesn't want to be noticed. But with that hair, how can he not
He
notice
did have the
him?
hat on. He was going full, Tom Cruise disguise. You don't see me, but I saw you, Benny. I saw you. You holding out on the Polars. Just
Watching
because the
them go
Polars
0-3.
are struggling doesn't mean you can hold out. You got to get there and you got to play. You talk to your owner, Benny. This isn't the league we signed up for. I know Benny was a little upset after draft night, but that doesn't mean you just start holding out on your team. You come and you make a name for yourself. You try to earn a trade off of your team. You don't hold out and force yourself on a trade because you haven't proven yourself this year. So get to Rucker, Benny. That's my take on Benny.
I feel as though we've been telling guys almost to hold out, so we can't get mad at a dude for doing it.
But you know who else might be holding out?
Who?
Another Polars player.
Who else is holding out the Polars?
Where is Hayden Erickson?
Yes, where is he? I haven't seen him.
He was at he plays softball in the same league. He was there last night. Mankato has been done with school for how long now?
Maybe a month. Like,
where have you been?
He was at draft night.
He hasn't been to 1 week.
He got drafted. I don't know if you remember. He got drafted. He turned around and walked right out of there. Stormed out.
So you're putting 77's in a predicament here. He's got Bryden, who teams are trying to trade for, but that's his star player right now. He's got Jeffy, who says, "Trade me. I don't want to be
I'm not
here."
even Ray Allen anymore.
Logan Ilg, who
Logan Ilg.
He's just Logan Ilg. He doesn't say anything. But he's a part of the team. And then you've got 2 players just holding out.
Who's their other guy?
Hayden and Bennett.
I thought Bennett was on the Storm.
No.
Oh, you misspoke earlier then.
Did I say?
I thought Bennett was on the Storm this whole time.
I could have swore he's on the Polars, but let me double check.
I have no idea because he hasn't been there.
No, I'm like 99% sure he is on the Polars. I am. We're almost there. Bennett Miller and Hayden Erickson, 2 players holding out on the same team.
On 77.
Are we too hard on the Polars? They've been running with 3 players because they have 2. Are the Polars gassed? Is Jeffy gassed? Jeffy did have that illness, and he's just gassed because he can't get a break because they've got 2 players on their team holding out.
He's mentally exhausted because the media, whoever that may be, and his owner is frying him every week.
Is Jeffy getting a bad role here? Jeffy.
We need to issue an apology.
Well, I'll see what happens this week.
I think his owner might need to issue an apology. Maybe Jeffy doesn't need the hypnotism. Maybe he needs something else, something a little stronger.
Might need to drink a little something or rub a little something. What? No. You said the Storm holding out because maybe this is where there might be a Storm player holding out.
There might be. There was somebody who wasn't there this past weekend, and
his team struggled. His team has been struggling.
I mean, if I'm a player who is very successful in my basketball career, and I go to a team that's not very good, and I'm looking over at my buddy who's on the 8-1 Black Panthers, I think, you know what? Maybe I want to go to be a better team. Maybe
I want to go to the Suns. Maybe I want to go to any other team other than my team that is 1-5 in our last 6, currently sitting with a record of 3-6.
Colt Landers, I think, might be holding out on his Storm.
Might be. Now we said earlier, Colt Landers was anonymously called up. Who sent that in?
Beats me.
Was it Wilson Storhoff?
Was it Sawyer Johnson? Was it Dylan Winslow?
Was it Matson Keeney?
Oh, man.
I don't know.
Maybe Matson's trying to rile up his star player. The Tom Brady effect.
He's got to be there, though.
I don't know.
Hey, maybe Colt shows up this week and puts all of that to bed. But we had one more player we think might be holding out. We kind of mentioned him earlier.
Oh, yes.
He was happy, or maybe not happy, but had shown that he wasn't opposed to being traded off of the Suns, Connor Danielson was there's actually a screenshot leak of Connor Danielson reacting to the post of the trade from the Gators to the Suns in exchange for Connor Danielson to come team up with his brother. He reacted to it with the prayers emoji.
He's saying, "Get me out of here."
What? I mean,
Sam Roofstead, Riley Means.
He wants.
I don't mess with you no more.
And I had just talked with Riley and Sam, and they're not. I'm not going to out some of the things we talked about, but Sam had just, and even Riley really reiterated to me, we don't control the playing time. That's on the players. They are they drafted the team, they gave them the framework, and now they're letting those players go out and do whatever they want with it. And they feel like they're getting the blame for this, and they're getting thrown under the bus. That is not this.
That's true, yeah.
Is there one player on the Suns that is, I don't know, delusional?
Maybe.
I don't know. This is a man's league. This is a man's league, Connor. Can you hang? This isn't high school basketball. Something to keep in mind. But, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. We had a very interesting weekend. We're in for a very interesting weekend.
I think we're at a tipping point here. It's either going to go, things are going to crumble and fall, or things are going to roller coaster, and I don't know. Something's going to happen here.
Something's got to give here. Some owner is going to break and just...
The teapot is screaming right now.
It is. Tensions are rising.
There's a lot of we have to see how Sunday comes. We're filming this on Friday, so we got Saturday. All of a sudden it's Sunday. It's going to be a quick turnaround. Obviously, I'm
living
excited.
For Sunday. I'm pumped.
I think that about does it for us.
I think it does.
This week's episode. We've got a lot more we could talk about, but we got to keep you guys interested. We've got big things coming next week. Maybe we've got some player comparisons we're going to get to at some point, players in the Rucker and their NBA comparisons. And who knows, maybe by next week, we're going to have trade on top of trade and drama. Will we finally get something out of AB? Everybody is on the edge of their seat. AB, give us something.
Will AB coming for an interview?
Nope.
No. We'll see.
Well, that's going to do it for us here this week. Kind of a long episode, but there was a lot to talk about.
It was a busy week.
Hopefully you guys are still here. You've probably already turned us off, but thanks for joining us this week. It's fun. We enjoy it. Be a friend. Tell a friend. Hit that like button. Hit the share button. And be a nice person to somebody.
Do it.
Go do a kind act for somebody this week.
On.
That's the iHRL challenge of the week.
It is.
Go give somebody a compliment. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
iHRL out.